Welcome to the Teen Life Podcast, where we research teen culture so you can focus on connection. I'm Karlie Duke, and I am here with Tobin and Caleb, and we are starting Valentine's a little early, just so you can have the ideas ahead of time in case you don't listen on Tuesdays when we release, even though I think you should. It should be your favorite podcast.
Come on.
But we're going to talk about Valentine's date and gift ideas for your teenager. Maybe you use it for yourself. That would also be a great option. And then Tobin, our resident music guru, is going to talk about learning how to play a new instrument. And I'm excited to learn, Tobin, from you. But let's kick it off with some Valentine's date ideas, because it's Valentine's and it's cheesy, but when you're in middle school and high school, you lean into the cheese. They just do sometimes. But you also want something that's going to be fun, but low pressure, not super expensive. Please do not take your high school girlfriend to like that really nice steakhouse, because it's just not.
Don't take in a melting pot.
Oh.
That's the generic. That's the generic Valentine's Day.
But also a thought before we kind of get into actual ideas, especially if you have younger teens or even if you have older teens, do a group activity or do it with another couple if you have a couple friends. So it kind of takes some of that pressure off of the actual day. Or maybe don't do it on the actual day and do it the weekend before and just do something fun as an experience. The obvious go-tos: dinner, a movie.
Or both.
Dinner and a movie.
Dinner and a movie. You know?
Go to one of those dine-in movie places where you can do it all in
hold
once.
on, Caleb. That might be too much. Like, don't go overboard. So
You're right. Temper expectations. Okay.
Yeah, this is a long. You got to play out the clock on this situation. You can't overdo it real early in the marriage, or else you're screwed. So
That's true. Set the bar low. Okay. If you get nothing else from this episode, there you go. Set the bar low.
Yeah, your first Valentine's has got to be like. Bowling would be fun, especially if you're doing a group of people. Something that I think would be fun is make something together. Like, I'm thinking dinner or dessert, but you could also, I don't know. I've seen people do painting.
Yeah, you got great cookies together.
Yeah, you could decorate cookies. You could do paint, like they do, like painting with a twist type stuff, but you can watch YouTube videos. That's kind of cheesy, but could be fun. But like, go shopping together and get all the ingredients and then come back and make something. And then tends to be cheaper, takes longer, more fun. You're also at home with adult supervision, all the things. Maybe you do brunch the weekend before instead of doing a fancy dinner. It'll be fun. Escape rooms, laser tag.
Yeah.
Count me in for laser tag. That would be so fun.
Is laser tag still a thing? I haven't seen laser tag in a long time.
I think like main events still have laser tag.
I used to love that.
Main event, I'm pretty sure, has escape room, laser tag, and bowling. So like, you go there and you're just like, boom, let's do it. Okay, let's like spend the whole day here and putt probably.
Yeah, well, and arcade games would be fun. There are lots of places I know around us, and I'm sure there are in other cities too, but that are like free play. Like, you pay $20 and you get unlimited arcade games. Like, something like that could be fun.
And then you can spend the tickets at the end and then count that double down as a Valentine's Day gift too. Here's a bouncy ball.
You spent $50 and got a slinky.
Yeah. A lot of times it's just about being intentional about it, though. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. It's just being intentional and not doing the like, so you want to do this instead? You know, don't ask the day of, like, what do you think about this? Like, you need to have a plan. So that's my hard lesson learned of you have to have a plan.
That's a great advice, Tobin. My last idea that Caleb kind of scoffed at, which I'm offended by, because I think this would be super fun.
No, that was me.
What it
I
meant.
scoffed at it.
Tobin scoffed. Okay.
Which is less, it's more honest. So
well, they both scoffed, and it's rude because I think this is a great idea that you should mark down for your teenager. Do a progressive dinner or a tour of fries or a tour of desserts where you pick 3 different places. You're going to get an appetizer from one, an entree from one, and dessert from another. Or where you're going to go to 3 different places and get the dessert that they're known for, and just make it a little different or you could get appetizers from every place that tend to be cheaper and you share. I don't know. Something like that could be fun and different and make a memory.
Or to like rank, be like, hey, you know what? We're going to find truly the best fast food burger for
Do you guys count, and I guess when I say you guys, I'm talking to Karlie. Karlie, do you count the date as part of your gift, or do you have to get a gift as well?
Josh and I don't really do gifts. Like if we do, it's like, hey, I bought this for myself for Valentine's. Or he might get me flowers. And like usually I get like, I'll make it. He's a big chocolate covered strawberry person. So I make that every year. I make him chocolate covered strawberries as a gift. And then we might go on a date.
With you then. That's like the one non-negotiable from Jody is I have to get those for her every year. So
I'll make them for you.
Like, right.
Double up.
Yeah.
That's better because usually it's like the day of. I'm like, oh crap, who still has them? So
no, I can do that. Again,
have a plan.
Yeah. Have a plan ahead of time. Right. But at this age, I feel like it's less about being romantic and more about having fun. And as we get into gifts, I do think that's something worth like my advice would be to set expectations early. So especially if you're the guy and she's expecting a gift, maybe instead be like, hey, I want to make this Valentine's Day really fun. And so instead of doing gifts this year, like I'm going all in on something that we're going to do together. And if she knows that ahead of time, I don't think a girl would be mad if she knew. Because a lot of times Valentine's Day presents are cheesy anyways. Yeah. But don't maybe think that she's going to, like if she's expecting flowers and you don't do that, then that's when she's going to get mad.
Mm-hmm. But I think too, like you said, like I think they kind of overlap, you know, like as I look at Valentine's Day gifts, like experiences overlap there. I know one time my girlfriend in high school did a scavenger hunt. I think it was either for Valentine's Day or an anniversary, but it was like it started out with like a clue and it was like, hey, this is at the first place that we met, the first place that we went, or the first place we went to a date to sit down, and we would go there and maybe have dinner, or if it was a place, there'd be like a little gift of like a candy that I liked, things like that. So, I think experiences overlap there. If, even if like picnic, things like that of, like you said, making sure you're on the same page, like, hey, would we rather spend our money on an experience or a date or get gifts? Because sometimes you can't do both. But I, as we look at gifts, have you guys ever gotten a bad Valentine's Day gift?
I don't know. I can't remember, which just says more about me than it does anybody else, but I'm sure I have.
They're just cheesy and not Josh. Not Josh. Never Josh. Josh is great. But one time I got a big stuffed animal, and what do you do with that? Like, what do I do with a big bear that's holding a heart that says like, forever. I love you?
That's right.
No, that is like fleas and waiting to happen. Put it in the center
of your room.
I'm grumpy. Tobin is grumpy about Christmas. I'm grumpy about Valentine's Day.
Same. I'm grumpy about Valentine's Day too. It's a fake holiday. Sure. So.
But I'm just grumpy about like the Valentine specific stuff, or like I've gotten like the little heart chocolate boxes that you get from Walmart for like $4. Like, I don't need that. That's not good chocolate. Yeah. If you're going to get me chocolate, get me like something I'm actually going to like. Or like I've gotten necklaces before that are hearts, which is fine. But then when you break up, you can't keep wearing that necklace. It's super weird.
Have you ever gotten anything with like your significant other's like initials on them? Like
we're entering
Karlie
dangerous
Hatchett
territory.
Plus so and so forever with a heart.
I don't think so, but
we're entering dangerous territory.
That is for sure a no. No,
if you're doing gift nos, don't do that ever.
No, don't get something that sounds bad, because some people would be like, but it's sentimental and it's cute. No, don't do something that's tied specifically to your relationship, because when you break up, and if you're in middle school or high school, you probably inevitably will. Yeah. That gift was just wasted, and they will never ever wear it again.
We talked last week about turning 18. That goes for tattoos as well. Don't get a tattoo like that.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. Oh,
but if you want to know how to really
matching tattoos for Valentine's Day.
No, gross.
That sounds
if you want to know how to really listen, if You want to know how to really win a breakup, teens? You get your significant other a really great gift that they will use, okay, when you're dating. And so that way, if you ever break up, they still have to use that gift and think about you every time. You win, okay? You
That's
win.
wonderful.
You lose if you get something that's tied to you. They just throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
You win by getting them something they use every day.
Yes.
Okay? Well, we still have a sign in our house that my mom hung up and an ex-girlfriend made. And so every time I come home, I see it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, it's great. It is cute. She crushed it. But yeah,
man.
She won. Great.
She did.
Yikes. Yeah, I think that's too also like, knowing this is for, okay, so teens, kind of have some awareness of where you are in the relationship. Like if you are like, hey, we've been boyfriend, girlfriend for, multiple weeks now. And like, I don't know what judges a good relationship these days, but like if it's years or months or whatever, just know like, hey, if you've been with this person for multiple years, you better do something. First of all, like, I don't care if it's small, you got to do something. If you're like filling things out and you're just kind of keeping it cash, as the kids say, like, I don't know if they say that or not, but like
someone somewhere says that.
Yeah. Maybe like you don't go full out like jewelry and tux and chocolates and not, because that's going to creep the girl out. So I'm talking to you guys, like, or really anybody. Like if you go super strong, heavy handed, and you are not a serious relationship, you're about to have a very unpleasant Valentine's Day. So just keep that in mind if you're a teenager listening.
Which with that, the gifts that I'm about to say are probably ones that you do not want to get your significant other if it's casual. So like some handmade items are great. I think they mean a lot, like especially if you've been dating someone a long time. I know of friends whose girlfriend got him like a pill bottle. I remember like he came back like from a date and I was like, what in the world? And what she did is she wrote like encouraging things or things she liked about him, and then like split them into different categories, and then just got like these big like pills, and then would roll them up and then stick them in the pill. So if he needed them, they were color coded. It was crazy. They were color coded like certain things, like, hey, if you're feeling sad, if you need encouragement, he would grab that color pill, open it, and then read the message in there.
That's intense but cute.
It's intense, right, but cute. Another one that is great is getting a journal, right? Or it's something that Haley and I do. Is I got her a journal one year, and we'll take turns writing in it, and then hand it back and forth. So that way, we see what each other wrote, and then we'll usually get each other. I'll usually get her flowers every time I give her the journal. So something too that you can continue to do. I know, I'm just such a romantic at heart.
Cute.
Thank you.
I have talked to teens and teen life groups a lot about how I used to have to pass notes to girls in school because we didn't have phones and stuff, and they're just like, "What in the world?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was."
I've kept all mine. I have a box. I have a notes box.
That's so crazy. Okay, well, do we miss any gifts? Is there anything we're missing that maybe like?
I think something like just their favorite a few of their favorite things. Like being like you were saying, Tobin, be intentional and get them their favorite drink, their favorite candy, and maybe a $10 gift card to their favorite store. Like something like that is so easy. You know they're going to eat it or use it, and then you don't have the breakup if this doesn't work out debacle. I also think what would be really cool is if you decide ahead of time, like, hey, we're going to exchange this one specific thing where like budgets will be similar. Like, hey, let's each get each other a sweatshirt. You pick one out for me and I'll pick one out for you, or a t-shirt or a coffee mug, or you know what I mean? Yeah. Something like that. That would be fun that that they would wear and use, and you're on even footing. Because I do think if you're a teenager, it's awkward. Like, what if they get you something really nice and you got them a snack, and now you're sitting there feeling like a jerk because you didn't go all out? And take the anxiety away from Valentine's Day and just decide ahead of time, either on a budget or we're going to get this for each other, and I'll surprise you with the specifics of what it is when we get there.
Those are the two big ones.
Yeah.
Make sure you're on the same page. Talk about it beforehand. And then teenagers, know where you are in your relationship. Okay? I'm about to out my brother because it's such a funny story I think's applicable. One time he took a girl on a first date, and they watched, it's like a picnic, super sweet picnic, and then they watched The Proposal as a movie and kind of scared her away. Okay, so like know where you are.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Understandably.
Play where you are at the relationship. Okay. Don't hand a girl or a guy a pill bottle with nice messages first week. Okay.
I'll be honest. I got scared off by a Valentine's Day and we broke up shortly after.
I've heard this story from you before. Yeah. That's
I can't remember if I shared it on the podcast, but it was very well intentioned. We had been dating like 2 months, and he planned this dinner by a lake. It was very sweet. The table, he had set it up ahead of time. And that was the day he like wrote me a letter or poem, something, and dropped the I love you. And I was sitting there going like, oh, oh. But you know, I said I love you back because I felt so awkward about it. Like, please don't make, listen, teens, listen in close, lean in. Please do not make Valentine's Day the day that you go for the big romantic gesture.
It's not a real thing. Yeah.
No, especially in high school. Keep it fun. Keep it low key. Do something that both of you will look back and be like, man, you know what? That was really fun. Do not be the bad Valentine's date or gift story for your significant other in 10 years. Because if you do something cheesy like that, you will be.
Yeah. And if love has failed you and significant others have failed you, teenagers, then you need to do something that will never fail you. And that is learn an instrument, because instruments will never fail you.
So, I will say also, because like I watched Barbie recently. Okay. Finally did it. It's a good movie. Don't serenade. Okay. With the musical instrument.
Come on.
Because apparently that's
I disagree with you there. That's a win. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to serenade somebody, like don't do it creepily like Ken in the Barbie movie, but you know, like don't be singing. Yeah, don't be singing Three Doors Down to them or anything. But we had the question. So this is a very sloppy transition, but we had the question recently: where would a teen start if they wanted to learn an instrument? Okay, so if you're a teen listening and you're like, man, I think I might want to do that. First, you need to know, first of all, it's never too late to do that. In some capacities it can be, but it's never too late to start an instrument. And also, like I said, instruments will always love you back as long as you give them love. So because they make beautiful music whenever you're good at it. And the more time you put into it, the more you get from it. So that can't always say that about relationships. So
man, that's fair.
There is a big difference. So if you're a parent or a school staff or somebody that is mentoring a teen and listening, I used to do this as a job. This used to be my background, but I want to tell you the difference. There's a difference between band and orchestra and like just an instrument for fun. So like I said, if you wanted to learn how to play an instrument, like it's never too late to do that. But if you want to be in like school band or school orchestra, sometimes there are restrictions on that. Like a lot of districts will not let you join band like after a certain grade, because then you have to play catch up for a lot of ways. So if you have a younger teen that's starting middle school or something, that this might be more for you. So just know that there are some limitations to that. But so like the question that was, what is an easy instrument, like an intro instrument? So if you're in band, it really just depends on like your physical features. So like for instance, like if you are tiny, and if you have a teenager that's tiny, then maybe don't let them play tuba, because that's going to be hard. And
or the big drum.
Yeah. Which that's not to say that some, tiny kids play tuba and they're awesome at it, but there are physical things that can stop a teenager from playing certain instruments. Which is always an interesting, as a former band director, I had parents that would get mad at me sometimes when I'm like, like even like if a person wants to play flute and they have a widow's peak in their lips, it is not possible for them to play flute well, because their airstream splits around their widow's peak. And so it literally, like this is so dorky, but like there literally are physical things that can stop you from playing certain instruments, like tiny lips, big lips, that kind of stuff. So just keep in mind that if you are going through that with your student, that the person that's educated there to tell you these things, just kind of trust them, that they know what they're doing. Sometimes financial needs are a thing. So like if you can't afford to buy an instrument for band, a lot of times schools will have instruments that you can rent from them for free, or just use a school owned instrument. But that is only certain instruments. So like if you like wanted to play trumpet, but you don't have the money to it, then they might put you on like a bassoon or something, or like a trombone that they have already. So just kind of keep that in mind. And sometimes it's just band needs too. Like if you are in a music situation, every single 7th grader or 6th grader wants to play saxophone and drums. Every single one. And so not everyone can play those 2 instruments. So if you are going in with the mindset of I'm going to play only saxophone, and they've already had 40 kids select saxophone, they might try to push you to a different instrument. So just keep that in mind. For orchestra, it's kind of a lot of the same thing. There's less instruments for orchestra because there's not as many to worry about, but also physical needs like or physical features. Like if you're tiny, double bass might not be for you, or if you have really big hands, and the violin might not be for you. And so just kind of keep that in mind. Same kind of thing for financial needs as well there. But if we're just talking about like you are a 16-year-old, you're not in band, you're not in choir, orchestra, whatever, and you just want to learn how to play an instrument. An easy intro is usually piano, because there's a lot of tutorials online. Like the lessons are typically pretty easy, and it's very like visual, like it's very in front of you. Like if I know how to play, like it's like a scale. It's very visual in front of you.
You can play almost anything on the piano too.
True, and yeah, everything translates to piano for the most part. And so, if I'm talking about like another instrument, the bass is typically the easiest to get good at fast. Or maybe not good at, maybe that's not the right term. The bass is the easiest to like be manageable, proficient. Yeah. You can get pretty good at the bass pretty quickly if you put time into it. And so like that's it, you can, but then you get to the higher levels and it gets harder. But like if you wanted to play in like say a band or a worship band pretty quickly, the bass is typically the fastest way to do that. And to do that well.
Okay, I have a question, Tobin.
Yeah.
So I played piano when I was little. Bad experience. Anyways, I wish I had stuck with it. But I took like the classic piano lessons. Like you sat down and you learned the notes and the sheet. I learned how to read sheet music, and we started real early. But I know there are some people who are, what would you call it? Is it sight reading? Is that what you call it, or something like where they can like almost like when you hear
Playing
the
by
music
ear.
and playing by ear, where they can sit down and do it. But I know I have some friends and family members who, when they went back to learning piano, they just learned chords.
Yeah. So
talk me through that of like what is easier if I'm a teen wanting to learn how to play.
It just depends on what path you want to go down. This is going to sound catty. Learning to play piano is very boring. Like if you sign up for piano lessons with some old lady that's been teaching piano for 40 years, you're going to be bored out of your mind. Because they are trained to teach you like to be a classically trained piano player, which means that they want you to grow up or get better and start playing piano sonatas from Mozart and Beethoven and stuff. And if you do that, that's great. My mom is a classically trained piano player. And she would never teach me. Like my mom never taught me to play. So I learned how to play piano by ear and by rote. And so if you are looking to be a classically trained piano player where you want to play, Debussy, Rachmaninoff, all these, great piano composers, whatever, then by all means, please do that. Like you need to do that. Okay. If you are like most people and you just want to learn how to play cool stuff and music, and I shouldn't say that, that's mean. Like piano sonatas are cool. They're cool in their own way. But if you want to play quickly and you want to play like rock music and worship music and that stuff, you just need to learn chords. Like that's it. And so like a lot of times learning by ear is an easy way to do that, or just kind of learning what the melody lines are and stuff. But that's a lot easier just to sit down with, hey, I have the lyrics to The One by Taylor Swift, and these are the chords that you play, because that's pretty simple. It just goes back and forth from one chord. That'd be a good starting song. And it's just learning how to hit the right notes at the right time and stuff like that. And just kind of, again, there's a ton of YouTube tutorials, this kind of stuff that make it easier.
I have a question too. Like, is YouTube and online learning sufficient enough, or are some instruments, would you say, like, for me, I'm mainly thinking like acoustic guitar, piano. Would you be like, okay, you need someone to walk you through that? Or is like, hey man, YouTube is good enough? Because like, I know I tried to learn guitar and like people like use YouTube and then like also start with like playing an easy song, like learn the chords and start playing the song. Like I just like, but I stopped after I broke a broke a string trying to tune it, and then was like, this is probably a sign that I need to not do that. And I was like, maybe I wouldn't have failed if I had like a person there walking me through it. I just, as a teen that's wanting to do it, is it like, okay, could I do this with YouTube, or should I get somebody to help me walk through it?
The short answer is yes, you can. It really just depends on the personality. Like if you're the kind of person that has like the tools in front of you and you can self-manage that stuff, most of the time you can get what you like, the gist of what you need through online videos. The benefit of having an actual physical, like, go to the teacher situation is not only can they like physically walk you through what you need to do on an instrument, it also is someone to hold you accountable. And so like if I know that I have a guitar lesson on Tuesday of whatever week, then I know that either I'm going to show up to that lesson prepared and then get better off of that preparation, or I'm going to show up unprepared and then get told, why didn't you practice? Or, hey, why are we here if you're not going to practice? Like, I mean, when I was, because like, I mean, I'm a trumpet player by start. That's why I was a trumpet player growing up. And I had many weeks where like my trumpet professor would be like, why are we here? Like, you didn't practice, so go home, and like, and that was good for me as an early musician of like, okay, well, at the very least, I don't want to get yelled at by Mr. Camarillo, and so like, I'm going to practice for that at the very least. And so that's a way to kind of help you. But I will say too, like, if you just kind of know some basic music theory, like in that you can learn online, of knowing like, that's why I said piano's the easiest to do this, because like if you know that like, hey, when I play a C chord, it's these 3 notes, like, and you can visually see that at the piano, like knowing basic music theory helps you, because not only, so like I would start with that is what I'm trying to say. Start with some basic music theory, and then you can use that in, oh, hey, I'm looking at this chord chart on for whatever song, and it says a C chord. So I know that that's these 3 notes. And then and then that helps you also learning by ear of, if I hear these notes by ear, I know that they're this chord because I've learned that stuff. So there's so many resources now that I wish I would have had when I was a teenager, that if you wanted to at least get a start on this, like, it's great, and if we're going back to the Valentine's date and stuff like that, the quickest way to somebody's heart is playing an instrument for them sometimes. So, a lot of significant others love that kind of stuff. So sometimes they don't. It's it could be a very big miss or a very big hit.
It goes back
keep that in mind.
Things.
So yeah, just
maybe consider recording something for them and not doing like the
8th grade Tobin did that.
I'm going to sit and stare into your eyes, and if they don't like it, then that's really uncomfortable.
So speaking of, here's my embarrassing story. 8th grade Tobin took a song from the Wallflowers and rewrote it and played it for a girl that I thought was going to be like the one, because I was 14 and knew everything. And that was something that I saw her like 2 years ago, and she still made fun of me for that. Like, so still not living that one down. So I can't and now I can't listen to that song without having that bad taste in my mouth of like, God, idiot. So yeah, just remember, like, it's with great power comes great responsibility. So just don't learn how to play an instrument and then be an idiot with it. So so we really hope that you enjoyed this fun episode talking about Valentine's ideas and some ideas. So if you have any for us, like, please send us ideas that we can share on our social media, especially if they're teen related. Like, we can kind of coach teens on how to do better. Or if you're a teen and you're like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about, tell us we are dumb, and we would love to learn from you. So please send all of that stuff to us. We would love to read that. And as always, subscribe to us on all of our podcast platforms or on our YouTube for video podcasts. And don't forget that you teenagers are not a problem to be solved.